Hi. What a delight this week showed up to be. And I do hope that I can convey what that was that got revealed, and that you too may be experiencing this new sense of lightness and being of self that is revealing itself. So it was so refreshing to have beings show up who were in a state of lightness in which they were themselves without attachment. Big things happening in their lives, really big things happening in their lives, and yet finding a lightness and an unattachment that was a new state of being that, in speaking about it, got confirmed as a way of enjoying their life, regardless of what is showing up in it. And that's a remarkable thing and a state to get to. And when that started to show up, I thought, wow, I love this. Then the second being experienced the same thing, where others were trying to, through their professionalism, tell them what the steps are and what's going to happen and what you're going to do, when everything in them said, no, that is not how I feel or see or feel swayed. And it was like a first time of going to that place that one is so authentic and so unbudgeable that it was a new imprint, a new experience that shifts a way of being in the moment, in how to stay in alignment with that, and feeling this absolute authenticity in self. Whether you're right or wrong becomes the irrelevant moment, but it's not about becoming so other orientated to accommodate the other to such an extent that you move in their direction, which is the game. They're professionals at it. And many people are professional at it, especially kids. I reckon they're really professional at knowing how to get you in alignment with what they want. So it continued. And someone who I've been seeing for almost as long as I've been doing this, which is, 35, 37 years, came to a place where she wasn't going to tolerate what the other being was saying because she knew it was a lie. It wasn't true. They were spinning a story in their favour so they would be seen in a proper light. And something said, no, that's not how it goes. And the being she was talking to was kind of taken aback. It's a bit like, well, thank you for that. And it was like, well, you're most welcome. And the feeling of standing in their own authenticity was a freedom and a non-caring about whether that was going to be taken well or not taken well. It was so clear in their own authentic self that, no, that's not the way it is, and I'm going to speak how I see it is. I can't go along with this. Because we can move into a field where we mediate to make things okay so others don't get upset and keep them comfortable, because when they're not, all hell breaks loose and it's not worth it. But to actually find a calmness in self and a freedom of unattachment where one loves oneself and one's authenticity to such an extent that peace arrives and a new way of seeing the world appears in an unattached but self, in a space of truth and authenticity and the ability to love self enough to be self. That's a big deal. That is what we're doing here. We come here to love self and to expand self in its authenticity. How we continually get lost in the other and the concern for the other is a great suffering. One being that I saw, she's done such heavy load lifting and caring and negating self and spending hours that are beyond the call of duty to be of service in a vast, what I would call epic way, with epic results in health. And it came to an end. Like, what sort of a week have we had here where the ability to rather put up with and be concerned, and how can people be like that, and I'm the one that has to set it right and put the time in and spend time discussing, and this enormity of carrying these things, all of a sudden it was just the simple act of removing. If that's upsetting me, I will remove myself and do a preferable activity to it, which then is a freedom and a lightness and an okayness that appears, and by repeating that continuously, we find ourselves in a new world. The interesting thing here is that the Spirit was so clear in its capacity to be able to do this. It was like, wow, I can finally relax. The mind, on the other hand, it was like it was saying, I've done this for that many years, I suffered that, this is what I stood for, that's what I've been carrying. I can't all of a sudden give the epic self away and make it nothing. Epic has a huge cost to it. And at the end of the day, nobody remembers these things. The freedom in it, the relief in it, the gaining of one's own life back, and to be able to make moves that are preferable is fantastic. And then there are genuine epic people who we all know and meet, who are concerned about the time frame and when are things going to fall into place, and how can I fit in all of this that can bring about this shift and this whatever it is that is preferable. And that too found a very simple whole loop back to present time, because if we are these beings, and I would say we are these beings, just merely being present in authenticity, in love of self and love of others, and what is preferable and kind and possible is in the present moment. We don't have to look at years down the line. And that way we can fit wherever we are, because wherever we are in our authenticity, which has a vibrational essence to it, which brings the best to bear wherever you are. It's an enormous gift that each of us are in this world, that vibrationally we bring that okayness to others through our sheer presence. That's true for each. But if we're so future orientated and so worried and so concerned, that's what you bring to the table. So to be present in love of self, in a piece of being authentic and being true to that. The rest will sort itself out. It's not your concern. Because there are those who are very concerned about what the pain of others may be and how sad it is that certain things haven't gone the way we wanted them to go. I think we all can write a book on that one. So, number one, to assume that you feel what they feel is a guessing game to begin with. And all we can really do, which others were so clearly doing this week, was becoming unattached and authentically themselves. The cost of not doing that means you're not present, and by not being present, you're losing opportunities of synchronicity and sheer joy and the presence of just the presence of self. Being present itself is a sheer delight. And that can be missed out on. And if we miss out on that, others miss out on that, because that is the ultimate gift we give energetically to all. So it came down to what I will head it as: fall in love with yourself authentically, an authentic sense of okayness in self, and to come from that, live from that, express that, and not be bowled over by others and their intentions, known or unknown. And the card that showed up for the very first session this weekend is the card that actually ended up being pulled out for us all to share. And it's got a slightly different meaning to it, and I hope you can hear that. The card that was pulled is cooperation. But the word cooperation in this sense of the meaning is to cooperate with your own authenticity. To cooperate with that. We are so taught to cooperate with others that we forget to cooperate with ourselves. And in cooperating with ourselves, all falls into place. Those that want to be with you will be there. Those that don't want to be with you won't be there. And it'll be delightful that those who want to be there are there with you when you cooperate with self. So, cooperation. Cooperate with yourself. Don't give yourself such a hard time. A balance of give and take is what is needed. Let go and allow that which is for your highest good. Now is the time for active participation in group projects. In active cooperation, you will gain much more than you anticipated. Be responsive to all situations. To turn and read that through love of self is a wonderful, wonderful freedom that I hope you will enjoy over the week and the weeks to come. Lots of love. Bye.